Hey everyone, Captain Cross-Stitch here again. It is Friday, July 3rd, and hopefully all across our great country, everyone is gearing up to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the founding of the greatest country ever to exist. It's been an interesting last week or so as far as how I feel about cross-stitching. But anyway, as per usual, today's episode unofficially brought to you by Diet American Dew. I love that. I think that's some really good packaging on their part. Might as well take a sip. But yeah, it's I've been infected by the World Cup stuff going on in the U.S. I'm not a soccer fan. I don't watch soccer at all. But I have been watching all the games that the U.S. team has played, and just yesterday was the round of 32, or I think it was 32, elimination, their first elimination game, which they won. It was an amazing game, and they won it with some adversity. They had one of their lead scorers got kicked out of the game. He got a red card, which means they're eliminated from that point on from playing, and they get a one-game suspension, so to speak. So our next game is Monday against Belgium. I don't know anything about any of the other teams, so I don't know how good Belgium is, but I guess since they will have made it to the round of 16, I'm guessing they're decent. But our team is very energetic, and there is a magic about them. I'm not sure how far they're going to get. I'm hoping they can win it all, but anyway, it's just another thing that's bringing our country, the people here together to rally behind, and also it's bringing some joy to the world itself. I've been seeing the videos of the large groups of foreigners here in the U.S. that are supporting their team. They've traveled to watch their team play, and it is amazing how they've embraced our country. I think most of the world portrays the U.S. in a bad light, and so things that they have been told about our country are probably not true, and they're finding out firsthand how amazing our country is in all aspects: cleanliness, low amount, the safety, our general safety, food, and just the amenities that you and I probably take for granted, like electricity, air conditioning, large portions of food, and the convenience of the food and the abundance of it. We take it for granted, that we can just hop in our car and go down to the local grocery store and buy whatever we need, and don't usually have any problems with that. But yeah, it's been very joyful to see that. So hopefully we're spreading some good charity and hospitality to those that are coming to visit us for the World Cup. Since my last video, if you are a regular viewer, you saw I had a special edition mid-month video, which I've never done. I don't usually only do one video a month at the beginning of the month. But I did, so I had been collecting the Bella Filipina patterns, and I've almost got to the point where I have all of them. I'm still about 3 or 4 shy of having the complete collection to this point in time. But due to my continued unemployment and the belt is starting to tighten considerably, but I'll get into that in a minute. So yeah, I did the video mid-month, and I'd done that. I wanted to show off all the patterns that many people may or may not know about. So that was my first special video, but I kept it within the numbering system as just episode 31, which I screwed up on my sign. As you can see, today's episode says episode 31, but it's actually 32, and today's episode is Christmas in July. Woohoo! As you can see my shirt. Is it Christmas with Snoopy on the house? Yep. And that's going to be one of the themes today. I'm going to share with you some not only patriotic stuff for our 250th anniversary, but I'm also going to share some Christmas stuff. So I've got a lot. So this video is going to be probably pretty long, well over an hour, I'm sure. So anyway, I'll get started on that in just a second. So I've been trying to decorate my space, but it's hard when you don't have much wall space. So you can see my USA banner hanging there. I added my Build-A-Bear, my dog named Alexander. He's wearing his little Ravens zippered zippered pullover. Yeah, it's a pullover, not a hoodie. So got that, and I have the picture of my grandparents there, and I'm trying to figure out I want to add. That's my sister Denise. She lives down in Virginia, and I miss her dearly. I talk to her all the time, but she lives alone. Her and my dad lived down there until he passed away. She took care of him, and she took care of both my parents actually. Once they moved, they couldn't take care of the property we grew up in anymore, so they moved out of there and got a condo together in a nearby town about 10 minutes from here. And that's where they lived until my mom passed unexpectedly. And then once that happened, they sold everything and moved to a much more affordable place down in Virginia. So she lives down there. Her daughter and her husband and 4 children live about a half an hour from her down there as well. So all of my family is down there now, and it's just me and my wife and the dog, which she has the day off today, so she's upstairs scrapbooking, and whenever she's home, Benny doesn't, our little, or maybe not so little with all his hair, our little Australian Shepherd, he's made an appearance in a video or two of mine over the last couple of years, so if you see him, you'll know who that is. But he doesn't leave her side if she's home. She's definitely a mama's boy. Okay, so enough with the introductions. If you're new here, I welcome. This channel is 99% about cross-stitch and sometimes about books or music or video games or comic books, whatever kind of hit my taste buds for that month. You know, if I've gotten into reading or doing art of some kind, I will share a couple of things here at some point in this video on a more self-promoting side, but we'll get to that. So, let's see, life update. As I mentioned, I'm still unemployed. It's coming up on a year in about a week from now. The 11th, it will be a year since I was let go of my job, laid off, wasn't fired, had no reason to fire me. I was a good employee for nearly 10 years. I actually had somebody call me about a position earlier this week. That was like Monday. And so I had an interview set up for this yesterday. But then on Wednesday, they called me back and said that the position was currently on hold. So I called them back and said, I said I was really excited about the opportunity to interview what happened. And they said that the person in charge of the department that I'd be working for up and quit, like out of the blue, just quit. And I said, I don't know if that's a good thing or good sign or not, but I mean, it's a major institution here in my area, so I think they have a pretty good reputation, but people are people, so they may have just been tired of something or someone, who knows. But anyway, she said once they got out of scramble mode of who's going to handle all the stuff that this person did, she would call me back to set up a new interview, assuming positions were still needed. So, but in the meantime, I'm still applying for jobs. So, all right. So since last month, let's see. So, yeah, I did have a new start. I didn't think I did, but I did. Keep being able to keep track of times and dates, being unemployed and bad sleep habits. Half the time I don't know what day of the week it is. So I had, in honor of, so June 11th would have been my grandmother's 97th birthday. But she passed back in 2014, I believe. So it's been a number of years, but she would have been 97 on the 11th. So in honor of her, I started the Lola Crow stitch along or start along or sew along, as my new favorite Floss tuber calls it, and I'll talk about her in a bit. So she loved ducks. She had ducks like, little decoys or little, ceramic type ducks of all kinds. And she had them on the mantle over the fireplace. She had them, on her end tables, and whatnot. And she just loved them. So many years ago, one of my first things that I ever cross-stitched was a duck for her, and I had it framed. Well, I framed it. I didn't have it framed, and she proudly hung it up in her bathroom, and it was there until the day she died. And so when my mom had to, clean out their house, and before it was auctioned off, she said, "Come and get whatever you want." And so I made sure I grabbed that, and a few other small things that reminded me of her. But yeah, I don't have a lot of space in my house. It's a small split level, about 900 square feet, I think, something like that. There were more things I would have liked to have kept, and one of them was a very strange item. One of them, so in the center of the fireplace wall in my grandparents' house, my grandfather used to be a big time hunter, and back in the I'm going to say probably 60s sometime, he used to go pheasant hunting with his it turned out to be my oldest aunt on my father's side. Her husband, they worked together, so they went hunting together, and he shot a pheasant, and he had it taxidermied. Yeah, so there's this big pheasant, like with its wings all kind of like spread out, and it was beautiful, but it was big. We had, when I was a kid, there was a guy that lived down the street from us. I don't know his first name, but their last name was Proctor, and he was a taxidermy. I don't know if that was his job or if he just did it for fun or as a side business, but whatever. But he also did a deer head that my grandfather had hanging up in the basement, which had been shot by my father, my actual biological father. And it had a little brass plate on it, with his name and the date that it was shot. And I looked at that thing for many, many years of my life. Every time I went over there to Grandma's house and the basement, because they had a sort of finished basement. It wasn't finished for a long time, but then eventually my uncle Roger, my mom's youngest brother, moved in to live with them. So they finished the one side of it. It was a pretty good sized basement. It was very long. So they sectioned it off and built one big living space, which was his, and then that's where the wood stove, and then his living space was down there, and then the other half was their storage for canning goods and They had 2 freezers full of deer meat and fish that he caught every year, and all that good stuff. But anyway, enough about that. Sorry, I kind of sidetracked myself. So, so yeah, I had the new start. Let me grab that. So, like I said, Extraordinary Birds was the sow from 2025. And I did a center start. And it's a small start. So there he is. I forget the name of the bird. It's I'm gonna forget. Whoopie, Pookie, something. I don't know. But yeah, but isn't he cute? I mean, it's amazing how much detail you can get in such a small space. I mean, so the beak and the legs and the tip of the tail are all back stitch, and you can see that. And then there's there's a good 9 or 10 colors just in that bird. So, but I'm gonna whenever I do work on this, I will try and do like one element, one bird or in the surrounding area at a time. So I did, part of the arch above it and the branch he was sitting on. So. Why am I struggling here? Okay. So the other new start that I had planned on doing, but did not, was A Worthy Patriot from Plum Street Samplers. I took another look at the pattern, and so I as many of you probably know, Plum Street their designs are gorgeous, okay, and they pack a lot into a big area, but they do have a lot of instances where there's a lot of quarter stitching or 1/1 stitching, which A Worthy Patriot has. Not thinking about that when I bought the fabric I bought for it. I bought too low of a count. I typically work on 14, which is my favorite to use because it's big. I can see it I could do 16. Beyond that, I start to struggle a little bit, and definitely like, higher counts on like Lugana and Lenin, becomes problematic. So I have decided to wait. Since I go to the Grace Notes retreat next month, I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna get a piece of 28 count of something. I'm not sure yet, what, but I want to get a piece of 28 count, and I'm gonna stitch that over two. I've only ever done that once before, and I did it. It was a challenge, and I enjoy the concept of it, because then you can do things like quarter stitches very easily, But it's looking at, my eyesight's not great, and if you can see in my right eye, I had an injection, my second, and I can't straighten that. My finger's broken, which makes stitching difficult. But I had my second injection in this eye, so this my left eye is not much off of 20/20. It's really good. This eye is really bad. There's been some swelling around the retina. They feel that may be due to diabetic retinopathy. I am a diabetic, but it's well under control. My A1C is under 7. So he feels these injections in my eye are supposed to help. But after the first one, he actually delayed giving me the second one, which I had done on Tuesday this week. But initially, I went back to have it 2 weeks ago. But when they did the scan of my eye, it showed that there was a significant increase in the swelling around my retina, so he wanted to wait a couple of weeks. So we did that. So I'll go back in 4 weeks, and I'll repeat the scan to see if my vision has changed any or not. Due to insurance issues, there's a different medication he wants to try that he feels might be more effective, but they won't cover it until he's proven that the current medication is not doing the job. So that's why he went ahead. He has to establish the use of the medication that we started with, and to prove that it's not effective before they'll approve trying a different one. So, but anyway, so that's the long story of why I didn't start A Worthy Patriot, which I'm excited to get there. I want to start that so bad, and my new favorite floss tuber has started it, and I will get to her in a minute. But so I'm hoping that I can find a fabric I can use and start it at the retreat. Let's hope. And then we had the summer and beginning of summer and Father's Day also last month. The Worthy Patriot that I had planned on starting it on Flag Day, which was the 14th, which was a Sunday. And then I did the Bella Filipina parade in honor of the Philippines independence from Spain. They, at the end of the Spanish-American War, I guess Spain kind of lost some of their ability to maintain some of their influence, I guess, and then the Philippines said, we're done with you, Spain. So in 1898, they declared independence from Spain, and then I forget the reason why, but actually Philippines were actually a territory under the United States for a while. But then in the 1940s, they declared independence from us. So they actually celebrate two Independence Days. The one on June the 12th, and then they also do July 4th, just like we do. So they get two Independence Days. Other whips that I worked on during the month of June. So in honor of the Bella Filipina, I thought it only right to dust off the only Bella Filipina start that I've ever done, and that's Bellatrix. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Extraordinary Birds, that was stitched on a piece of 14 count sandbar from, I think it's Be Stitch Me, I want to say. But it's the called for fabric, so. Bellatrix, you can imagine on a 14 count, it's fairly big. I mean, there is a lot of stitching. But, so that's the bottom quarter of her dress. Let me show you the design so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm working in here in this sweeping part, this fan of the bottom of her dress. And then there you can see. So this is a piece of 14 count cobblestone. It's the called for. Yeah, cobblestone from Fiberlicious. Fiberlicious, yummy fibers. Let's see. And then the only other project I worked on was the Nature's Journey Stitch Along from 2025 that appeared in Just Cross Stitch magazine throughout the 4 regular quarterly issues last year. The designer is Kat Holen from, I'm gonna forget, I forgot the name of her company. Anyway, so it's so there's a moth. Just about finished the moth, but it's divided into 4 quarters. So this is the upper left corner of the design, but it's like spring, summer, fall, and winter. So sprouting lupine. I knew I remember it when I stopped thinking about it. Yeah, so, and the good news for if you've missed the design, you don't get those magazines. This design is now available on her Etsy page. So just go onto Etsy and just do a search for sprouting lupine, and you should find the design. I plan on buying it from there just to get the PDF so I can put it into my Markup XP program. And then that way I can get the magazines that are in the bag. It makes the bag so heavy and takes up a lot of space. So. Okay, so those were the only whips I had for June. All right, so I've been talking about a new floss tuber that I managed to come across. So thank you, YouTube algorithm, for bringing me her. She's new to cross stitching. I mean, she's only been doing it in earnest for about the last 9 to 10 months. But she is super prolific. She's done a pile of stuff in that short period of time. Now, granted, she will, if you watch her videos, she will tell you that it's mainly because she's been laid up from surgery. She had some kind of hip-related surgery, so she wasn't really allowed to get around too much initially. So she did a lot of stitching. So anyway, so her name is Leah, and she goes by the name The Blooming Stitcher. She named herself that because her last name is Bloom. She's a beautiful, effervescent girl from Arkansas who currently resides in Colorado with her husband, Brian. And she's already made a name for herself in just 5 videos. Now, granted, she posts fairly regularly, like sometimes only a week apart. But she obviously loves what she's doing. And she's a patriotic girl. She's a Christian girl, which I love. And she's just amazing. I wish there had been girls like that growing up here in Maryland when I was a kid. I feel like sometimes I grew up in the wrong state. My mother's family is from the South, and there are I have cousins that are like that, you know, beautiful girl next door types, and just amazing people, you know, just amazing. But anyway, she's big into patriotic stitching, and she also loves the sampler style stuff. She's done quite a few things, and she's part of other stitch-alongs or sew-alongs, as she calls them. She's also an avid quilter. Her aunt and her mom are all crafters as well. So I would implore you to go check her out. You should not be disappointed by her. She is, like I said, super amazing, and really she is the one that kind of gave me the impetus to do what I'm going to show you today, which is the Christmas in July idea, which I was going to do, but I'm doing a lot more with it than I would have otherwise. And also patriotic stuff. So what I'm going to do today is kind of give you another tour of my collection, I guess, of patterns in those two veins. So let's see. Yeah, so let's get started with that, shall we? I have another sip. I'm just trying to think of which one should I start with. Sorry about that, I'm a little unorganized. Okay. We'll do the patriotic stuff first, because tomorrow is the 4th. This is one that I started many years ago and put down for reasons I can't remember. But this is a Dimensions Gold Collection Petite. It's called Patriotic Angel. I guess I could take that out of the plastic, couldn't I? Maybe. Still glaring. It's pretty. And that is I'm not sure. I'm sure it's probably a 14 count. I don't know. It's kind of small. But anyway, so there's the start I got on it. Nothing like dark thread on a dark fabric. I think that's probably why I kind of fizzled out on it. This one, this would be a legacy project if I ever got into it. But the first time I saw it, I was just like blown away, and I went full bore on getting it kitted, getting the pattern, because I had to find the pattern, because I saw the finished product but didn't know who designed it, who put it out. I didn't know anything, but fortunately, through some Google searching, I was able to find it. It's called the It's from Rosewood Manor. It's called the American Flag Quilt Sampler. I think if Leah, if you end up seeing this video, you're going to want to get a hold of this. I mean, all those different quilt blocks. I did start it, but I didn't. Basically, I just put in a handful of stitches just to find a starting point, but I never worked on it again. I mean, I literally put in like a dozen stitches, so I'm not going to bother showing it to you. Okay, the rest of these are. I do have one kit, one small kit. Now I picked this up at a shop, a L&S, about hour and a half, 2 hours away from me near Ocean City, Maryland. It's a beautiful store. It's called Salty Yarns, and it's near the ocean, thus the name. But this is a kit from Bent Creek, and it's called Flag of Stars. I loved it, that it was small, and it's, the flag, and it's a bunch of stars, and it's a unique way of creating the design that's original. So, which reminds me, so since I didn't start my Worthy Patriot on Flag Day, I thought, well, I need to do something else patriotic in its place. And that Bent Creek kit that I just showed you is reminiscent of a design that I had mostly come up with years ago. I'll show you my sketches. You can see. So I was, I was doodling on some graph paper, trying to figure out, dimensions of, and different ways I could do stars and whatnot. But the ones in color here are the ones that I ended up going with just for simplicity of design. And then this was going to be the layout that I was going to do. But so I started putting this into a cross-stitch design software, and it quickly became apparent that there are 50 stars here. To do all 50 stars would require just way too much quarter stitches. Now, on a higher count fabric, that might not have been a big deal, but if you're someone like me who doesn't use higher count, that would be, it would just be a pain. So I changed the bulk of, I kept the star field, the blue part, the same, but the rest I just took out the stars and just did stripes and some words. So this is a finished pattern. I called the pattern Full of Stars. And a little trivia question: do you know the movie which had the phrase "My God, it's full of stars" comes from? Shoot me an email or a message and tell me your answer. I'd love to hear what you guys think, what the answer is. But anyway, So this is called Full of Stars. And I put words in the stripes instead of the other 40 stars, which would have been, again, a lot of these, believe it or not, only have a couple of quarter stitches per star, so it's not too bad. But the other one would have had a lot. The other design had quite a bit more. So the United States of America, 1776 to 2026, 250 years of family, faith, and freedom. So I did that. If you would like a copy of that, I can send you one. Just contact me with your an email or something, and I can send you the PDF. Yeah, if you're interested. I'm not charging for it. I plan on giving away copies of it at my retreat next month. So you would have a fairly limited edition of a design that you can't get anywhere else. Okay, so continuing so the rest of these are just patterns. This is called Betsy Ross Quaker from Twin Peak Primitives. That'd be a fun one to do. This one I want to do really bad. It's called the American Sampler, and it's from Croquet A Go-Go, or Croquet A Go-Go, however you pronounce it. So I love Uncle Sam, and I'm not sure who the woman is supposed to be, waving the flags. That's cool. And then the big eagles with the house there. Yeah, it's very colorful. This is called Freedom Reigns from Silver Creek Samplers. This is called One Giant Leap from Stitches by Ethel. Not really, I mean, not super patriotic, but it does have the flag in it, and it does kind of represent the moon landing, which was a patriotic event. This is from Sue Hillis Designs. It's called the Liberty Pirate. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of booty. So if you got a little pirate in you. This is from Sister Lou Stitches, who is the sister of the lady behind Silver Creek Samplers. If you didn't know, I've actually hung out with her at one of the Grace Notes retreats. This is called Let Freedom Bark. It's a little patriotic wiener dog. A cute little design. And then a couple from Waxing Moon Designs. This is called Preserving Liberty. It's got 2 designs in it, actually, so. And then from the same company, this is called the Patriotic House Trio. I was big into buying house, all of their house designs. They have a ton of them. So all this patriotic stuff, this is for you, Leah. So you keep watching. And then one that she's familiar with, that she did, is the Plum Street Samplers Stars. And then the companion piece to that, and Stripes, from Shakespeare's Peddler. More Plum Street. This is called Flag Flock. A New Constellation. This one isn't really too patriotic, but it does have a flag in it. But, you know, Live on Whittle, that's called. All right, so that's all of my patriotic stuff that I own. Let's move on to Christmas. Christmas. Christmas, Christmas is not yet here. All right, this is called Birds and Branches. This was from the cross-stitch calendar that I get every year. This was from the 2023 calendar, for the month of January. But and it's designed by the ever wonderful Joan Elliott. So I kitted it up, but I never started it. I wanted to do this for my wife because she loves cardinals. Another one that I have kitted up is called Poinsettias and Pines, from Blue Ribbon Designs. Simple but elegant. And then this is actually one of the first things I ever bought at an L&S many years ago. But never started it. Kitted it up. You can see I got all the General Art threads in there. So this is called Holiday Quaker from Leela's Studio. I know, Leah, you probably will like that one. Let's see. And I've got this is called Welcome to the North Pole. Sorry, I'm blocking the camera. Welcome to the North Pole, from Primrose Cottage. This was the stitch along at the very first Grace Notes retreat, which I bought the pattern there, but I had come into the retreat late, as far as signing up for it, because it was their first one, so it was kind of an unknown. But a girl that I was friends with told me about it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, they got room. You should come." So I went, and they do a stitch along every year, and this was the first one. But so I couldn't get in early on the buying the stuff for it, but I bought the pattern while I was there. All right, this is called Winter Snowfall from Shannon Christine Designs. I love that it's got that kind of Norwegian, Scandinavian vibe to it. This is just called Christmas from Jardine Privé, however you pronounce that. I've got several from this series. Little House Needleworks has a Farmhouse Christmas series. It's a 9-part series. I only have 4 of them, I think, but I'll run through the first 4. This is called Little Red Barn. Look at this little sheep and that cardinal sitting on the fence. That's adorable. I mean, you could do one of these in just a day or two, probably, if you're. I mean, I'm a extremely slow stitcher. That's why I never have much in the way of projects, especially since I broke my finger. This is part 2. This is called Horsing Around. Part 3, this is called Grandpa's Pickup. My little snowman. And number 4, this is called Dairy Darling. A little cow and a chicken. Bob! It looks like there's a cardinal in every one of these. I see one in the tree up there. Alright. This is another one from Croquet A Go-Go. This is a smaller one than the other one I showed earlier. This is called Winter Sampler. Another one from Silver Creek. This is called Fleece on Earth. Okay, so as many of you know, years ago, Lizzie Kate was all the rage, and she did I don't know if she was the creator of the 3-part mystery sampler, but she became known for it, at least for a while, and then of course that, prompted other people to jump on that bandwagon, I think. So I'm giving her credit for creating the idea. Whether or not that's accurate, somebody can correct me on that. But she did she did several that were like just mystery things. She did a couple that were Halloween themed, and then she did a couple that were Christmas themed. So all I can show you is, oh, okay, the third one has what it looks like. So, but basically it's called Mystery Sampler, and it comes in 3 parts. And then this one shows you what it looks like. So I liked it, but it is a kind of a cheesy way of monetizing your stuff with, getting maximum out of your production. Um, this was the other one. I'll show you part 3. That was a sideways design. I actually have that one all kitted up. All right. This is, the rest of these are all cottage garden samplings. This is, it's snow time. This is from their Fabulous House series. This was the first in the series. It's called Santa's House. I like how the reindeer are just kind of chilling there in the front yard, and the sleigh is around the side, like parked. So the rest of these are from the Snowman Collector series. I don't have the one I started on back in January of this year. I don't have it handy, but I'll show you the rest of them in the series, and they're in an order by what time of year I think they should be stitched in. So the first one was what I thought was January-ish feeling. But there's 12 of them, so in the order that I perceive them in, this is called The Postman. The Shepherd. I like how he's got the one under his arm, that's cute. The Gardener. Snowman needed to grow a new nose. The Scarecrow. He's whistling a tune. The Countryman. This is such a weird design. I'm sure that cow is sitting on a log, but it looks like it's doing something else, and I'll leave that to your imagination what he might be doing. The Clown, which I'm not big on clowns, but that's cute, I thought. The Farmer. Got a basket full of produce. This is my favorite one, I think. The Pirate. That ship, the sails on that ship are just like so cool. Really every part of it is really cool. He's got the spyglass. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. He's got the spyglass with the little parrot on it. Got the pirate hat and the jacket with the belt and the peg leg. I mean, everything. He's got it all. The witch. The cute witch. That pumpkin is something else. The pilgrim. That's cool too. Yeah. Vinny Tan, the designer of these, he's does a great job. And then the last one is called the Needleworker. It's like Santa, but with thread and buttons, and a coat that he may have made himself with a little bunny rabbit in there. So that is it for my all of my charts and stuff. So, just yet another small part of my massive collection, which, if I ever get a job again, will grow, I'm sure, some more. But so plans for July. I am going to start my, finally, Dana, this is for you. It's all kitted and ready to go. If I can find a picture. Okay. I'm going to start the Santas of Fable and Fantasy. It's got a patriotic Santa there, in case you didn't notice. But yeah, this is in the November-December 1991 issue of Better Homes and Gardens Cross Stitch and Country Crafts magazine. That's the cover, in case you need to track it down. So I'm going to be starting on that probably sometime this week, maybe. So if you want to see somebody who worked on that and throughout they do a floss tube, I recommend checking out Rosanna is her name. She goes by Bright and Dusty. She's on floss tube. She started around making videos around the same time I did, so about 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago. But one of the early projects I saw her work on, and you could watch her progress and then her completion of that. She did that one. That's how I found out about it. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I gotta track that down. So I recommend highly you go check her out. She's a big kind of retro stitcher, if you will. I mean, she does do some modern samplers type things, but she's big into thrifting and finding like old kits and things like that. She has several videos where she talks about like vintage stuff. So and she's a thrifter, and she goes to yard sales and things like that, flea markets, whatever. And she finds like somebody will have like just a big box of stuff, and they're like, $20 for the box, take it. And then she goes home and sifts through it all, and sometimes there's junk, but a lot of times she finds some really good stuff. Plus, she's the one that turned me on to something she calls saving the stitches, which I guess I should have thought it could have been a thing, but I never really thought about it. But what she does is, when she goes yard sailing or whatever she does, what she calls thrifting, she'll find like finished cross stitch pieces that are like, being given away essentially. And she's like, somebody invested a lot of time and effort in this, so she saves them from oblivion, I guess, and buys them, for next to nothing most times. So I did that myself, and I have one hanging right there, that bed with the quilt and the, small child in the bed. I found that at my local. There's a thrift store like less than a half a mile from my house. And my wife and I went in there and, looking for whatever, and I just happened to come across it, and I was like, I'm going to save this. And so there it is, hanging on the wall. So yeah, go check out Rosanna. She's very adorable. She's a long-haired, redheaded lady from upstate New York somewhere, and she's a hoot. She makes herself laugh, which I love. Okay, so that's my only planned stitching that I have at the moment, is that new start. So coming up in August, I have some new starts kind of tiered up for the rest of the year that I want to do. Now, whether I do them all is another thing. But one for August that is on the horizon, that I want to do, is from the Drawn Thread. It's called Autumn Garden. So they have one of these for each season, and some other various things that I've seen. But I love the delicateness of it. It's very dainty, the stitching. So I wanted to try it. I don't know if I like it, but I'm going to try it. So yeah, July. So tomorrow's July 4th. I don't have any real plans for tomorrow. I have my stitch group, which one of two stitch groups that I meet with every month. I thought it might get canceled since it's falling on 4th of July. People have plans and are busy. They got to prepare for cookouts and go shopping or whatever. But I put it out there to remind people, and they're like, oh no, we're still going to go. And so we'll have our usual small group. This group, the first Saturday of the month is the Aberdeen group. Aberdeen is an old military town, about 20 minutes north of where I live. in Hartford County, Maryland. It's also the home of Cal Ripken Jr., if you didn't know that, from the Baltimore Orioles. They got a statue of him out on the corner of Main Street and Route 40. So, anyway, if you didn't know that little piece of sports history. But yeah, we meet up there, and then the same a subgroup from the main larger group called the Heirloom Stitchers. Some of us meet on the first Saturday of the month, and then some of us meet the third Saturday of the month in Bel Air, which is kind of halfway between Aberdeen, and it's going a slightly different direction, but time-wise, it's about half the time to get there. And both times we meet at the local Panera and hang out in there, and most of us order breakfast and drinks and sit around and stitch for 3 hours, and then that's it. So that's it for July. I think only plans I have at the moment. But I'm hoping something comes up in the job soon. I'm able to reapply for unemployment benefits on the 19th, but it will only last for about a month or so, I think. I'm not sure. But I already called them and asked them about it, and they were like, yep, July 19th, you should be able to apply. Whether I get it or not is another thing, but let's hope, because I'm going to need help soon. July is going to be the last month where I'm going to have enough money to pay all my bills, so choices will start having to be made. And yes, I'm still going to my Grace Notes retreat next month because I already paid for it, so I'm going to go, and I already had the money put aside for it. So if I don't go, I'm gonna have a mental breakdown because I don't have much of a life right now because I don't work. I don't really have any friends that I hang out with. I mean, I chit chat on WhatsApp with a couple of guys, but we don't ever. Two of them live far away, and the other one is not very sociable. So yeah, I need this. I need to get around people and do stuff. So that's. And I do have my coloring group, a subset from the stitching group. Also, we also go to a adult coloring group on the in-between weeks. That's run by one of the girls in our stitching group. That happens on the second Saturday of the month. So I do something pretty much every Saturday morning, unless my wife has an event that she has to go to because I don't drive because of my disability. But anyway, I think that's it. So Grace Notes, in case that's you're saying, what is this Grace Notes he keeps mentioning? Grace Notes is a fabric dyer company, but they also put on a retreat every year in Allentown, Pennsylvania. The people, the Simpson family, they're the owners and operators of Grace Notes Fabrics, and I'd say 99% of the fabric I buy is from them. But the Simpsons are just wonderful, amazing people individually and as a family. They're a very Christian family, which is very self-evident. If you've ever met them, you would know. and I love them for that. And but yeah, they put on a wonderful retreat every year, and I've been to every one, and I hope to be able to continue that. This will be my fourth straight year attending their retreat. And all the wonderful people that you meet when you go there, all the wonderful helpers. There's, of course, Hannah, who's the one in my Stitch group that introduced me to them that first year, and I'm so thankful to have met her. And she's also one of the people that initially inspired me to do Floss Tube, although she hasn't done much on Floss Tube in many, many months. Her life her dog has become her life. They go hiking everywhere, and she posts videos about it and stuff. So, I'm assuming she's still stitching, but she doesn't come to group anymore, and she doesn't do Floss Tube anymore. So I don't know what's going on with her. But anyway, but yeah, get to see her and Carla from Carla's Stitching Journey, who has a channel as well. If you want to check out her channel, she's on Floss Tube. And I'm assuming Julie will be there, and any number of people, and of course a lot of people from Heirloom Stitchers, my usual group, will be there as well. And you always get to meet new people every year, and hopefully you'll make some new friends. Well, that's all I have for now. This video, like I said, is longer than usual, but that was expected. We're coming up on an hour and 27 minutes. So like I said, I hope you have enjoyed today's content, and you'll like and subscribe if you haven't already. Go check out Leah, the Blooming Stitcher. You will fall in love with her like I have, and anyone else I may have mentioned, Rosanna, Bright and Dusty, and Carla, Carla's Stitching Journey. Check those 3 Floss Tubers out if you would, please. So, until next time, I bid you all adieu, auf Wiedersehen, ciao. Have a wonderful 4th of July, celebrate, be safe, and I'll see you next time. Captain Cross-Stitch signing off. Have a good one, and keep on stitching.